Hi everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. And if you're listening in the podcast, thank you so much for being here. It is Monday, January 29, 2024. I'm here to speak about a tragic story that happened a couple of weeks ago about a 25-year-old dancer who passed away after eating a holiday cookie that contained peanuts, and obviously she's very allergic. She was very allergic to it. So right now, there is like a big battle in between the manufacturer of the cookies and the company that sells them, which is Stew Leonard's. And I know in Danbury, there's one Stew Leonard's, very famous store here in New England, I guess you can say. But it is such a tragic story. I gotta tell you, I know when people are born with severe allergy to food, it's very hard for them. They always have to be so open about something like that. I remember years ago, I used to teach Bible class, Bible Sunday morning at a church I used to tend to the kids, right? And I remember towards the end, if the service was running longer, I would give them some type of snack, right? And I remember noticing how I had somebody in my class that had also their siblings there. And when it was snack time, they made the effort, like the older sibling made the effort to come to me and tell me, my brother, can I have this or the other? And I was like, that is so nice to see how they're looking out for their siblings, and also tells you how much training goes into their parents, right? As they're growing up, making sure they tell the school, the babysitters, everybody who the child, I guess, comes in contact with, to make sure that they know that they're allergic to certain foods, right? So I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this. And this 25-year-old dancer, very successful dancer out of New York City, she was visiting family over the holidays, and she ate peanuts after reading the label. Okay, so it's not like she was not very cautious about it. This is how tragic this is. She did her due diligence to read the label, make sure that was something that she can actually consume. And then she had a severe allergy to it that led her to lose her life because of that. So let me read to you briefly this article about what happened. She was very beautiful too, by the way. The family of Orla Batzendel is mourning the death of the 25-year-old dancer who they say had a severe nut allergy and died of anaphylactic shock on January 11 of 2024. So basically, it's just happened after eating cookies that didn't list peanuts among the ingredient on its label. Baxendale had moved to New York from East Lancashire, England, to pursue a career in dance, according to a statement issued on behalf of the family by their attorneys. Her family is devastated by the unimaginable loss. She was a radiant and brave soul who pursued her dreams relentlessly, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts of those who knew her, they say. So here's the thing. Um, I'm laughing because I cannot believe there's not, it's almost like they're not taking accountability when it comes to the manufacturer or the company who sold the cookies. So I want you guys to leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys think about this. So, like, who should be responsible? Obviously, somebody made the mistake. Um, Orla, the 25-year-old dancer who died from eating that, she did her due diligence as living with this condition, and she read the label and it didn't list the peanuts as being an ingredient. So what did she miss? She did everything correctly. So somebody needs to be held accountable. And I'm thinking now, just learning about the story, I'm thinking both of them, the manufacturer and the store that sold them, because there has to be some type of additional, let me see, additional safety type of inspection done. And I know, perhaps, I never work at a supermarket or a big manufacturer company to know what goes into, the safety regulations and things like that. But you can only imagine saying, yeah, you can have our store space, and then just basically, if something happens, you're going to wash your hands and be like, oh, that's not, we just sell them here, we don't actually make it, that's the manufacturer, go talk to them, type of thing. So let me continue reading to you guys this article. Batsendow's attorney released a second statement saying that the dancer had an EpiPen, but the allergy was too severe. Oh, that is so sad. Orla was very careful and hyper vigilant about everything she ate. Like, you can only imagine growing up with something like that. Like I said, I noticed young kids protecting their older, like their younger, even younger siblings, and saying to me, they cannot have this, they cannot have the other. And that was like just when I said, okay, we're gonna have snacks, and they came immediately to me and said that. So it's just people who grow up with a condition like that, they leave their home with the EpiPen. They're making sure they're reading every label before they eat something. So I'm sure she was very, on top of things about when it came to that. I gotta say though, my heater's gonna come on, so that's gonna be on for a couple minutes. So in case you hear additional noise, so let me just continue to read here. um, After she began to have an anaphylactic reaction, I might be mispronouncing that by the way. After she began to have an anaphylactic reaction, an EpiPen was used, but due to the severity of the allergy, it was not effective. Wow. It says here these are Florentine cookies, and a huge container of them will cost you 11.27 out of the student owners in Danbury. I guess you can say that's where they bought it. Still learners expressed their condolences in a video statement. It is a sad day for us. We are just all devastated, very sad. Um, the CEO of Still Learners, he came in a video statement and said that, right? But he actually came with his four daughters. I have four daughters. He said one of them is in their early 20s. I can only imagine how the family feels right now, and we're just very sad about this whole thing. Mr. Leonard Jr. added that the cookies were manufactured by the wholesaler Cookies United out of Islip, New York, and repackaged by Stu Leonard's. Okay, so this is the thing. Anything can happen. This is why manufacturers they need to be so careful, because even it could be a human error, and if you they're giving you cookies, right? They're sending the cookies to your store, right? And you're gonna open the boxes and repackage them to sell them according to your price and all of that. You are like, I'm just thinking now, a student is printing their own labels for them, and in that they're listing everything. I'm sure it's so easy to just copy and paste whatever the manufacturer said, but you are a food store. I'm sure there have to be some type of regulations and things that need to follow. It's a tragic thing that happened, and I'm sure it can happen. Can happen to many other people, but I think the biggest issue. This is why they're pushing back. I think it makes sense for the manufacturer and say, hey, they still learners mess that up too, because here's the thing. It's not like I was thinking that they got the cookies from the manufacturer and they put it immediately on the shelf. Still learners open them up, use their own containers, use their own labels, and then they put them on the shelf. Like an employee could have made a mistake and put like in the midst of the cookies could have put a different cookie with peanuts on it. I'm not saying that's what happened, but I'm saying that least because of the handling after receiving the cookies can lead to human error. So I can understand why the manufacturer is bouncing the ball back and say, "Hey, you are responsible, or you need to have some type of accountability." Um, when I used to sell my clothing at a boutique, I I would say, I do take returns. I'm 100% responsible for my clothing, but let's just say, like, I would deliver the clothing. I would bring dresses, whatever outfits, the collection that I was trying to sell. I would bring it to the store, right? And it was we talk about price, all of that, right? So you bring me as a manufacturer, as a clothing designer, I will bring the clothing. I can't talk to them. I will bring the clothing, and I will actually I think a couple times I will help, setting it up in the store and displaying it. But let's say if somebody, if somebody complain to me and say, "Hey, I bought this dress from the line of Julissadesigns line, and the buttons came off or something." Like, I'm not expecting the boutique owner to deal with that. Like, you reach out to me and I will fix it, right? Because I'm the one who made it. But if somebody goes to the store and perhaps they fall while they're in the fitting room trying one of my dresses, there's no, I shouldn't be responsible for that, right? So this is why it's so tricky, because as two learners, it's not like they just got the cookies and put them in the store shelf. There was a handling process on that. They had to open, count them, and print their own labels and all of that. So the manufacturer is saying, "Hey, you're responsible for it." And I think, I don't know how like the process works or anything like that when it comes to food, selling it to like a store, but um, if they had a paper from the manufacturer saying, "You're signing off on these cookies, these are the ingredients, this is exactly what we're going to put in our batches," and if that paper, that contract is signed by the manufacturer, then of course the students can be like, they're the ones responsible for this, right? But they're risking it. There is a big risk for a store like that to be like, send us your, the food, and we'll open it up and then we'll put our own labels and all of that. Basically, we're gonna pretend that it's our cookies, but if something happens, like, we wouldn't make this type of thing. So I can totally understand why there's a back and forth type of issue right now, after this 25-year-old woman lost her life after eating one of these cookies. Like I said, this is very tragic. It's crazy. She was at a holiday gathering with family, I believe. They tried the EpiPen. Can you imagine the scene? Can I even imagine the scene of them trying to help her? So it's very tragic, and it's the beginning of the year too. So um let me see. In the 24 hours since the Cookies United learned of the tragedy, we've been cooperating with the New York State Department of Agriculture and have been informed we are in compliance with all applicable rules and regulations relating to this product. Um, and they also express the deepest sympathy to the family. Meanwhile, okay, it says here, officials from the Connecticut Department of Consumer Protection, um, this said also in the statement, this heartbreaking tragedy that should have never happened. And food investigators are working hard with the Department of Public Health officials in New York State, New Jersey, and the Food and Drug Administration and the student learners to determine who this error happened and prevent how this error happened and prevent a similar tragedy from occurring in the future. Correct labeling so that people who have food allergies can appropriately protect themselves if our if is of utmost importance. I'm devastated to learn of this incident. We'll work with the partners to ensure that we can protect people with food allergies. I cannot stress enough the importance of food allergies awareness, and I hope this tragedy does not happen again, said the DPH commissioner. It is so shocking, like I said. Um, it is so shocking. But, even thinking about them, I can only imagine how much safety thing has to go into, you know. You see, like I used to do the farmer's market a lot, and I used to see a lot of food vendors. And, like, your life can change in any moment. That's why you have to be so careful. I'm laughing because it's such a little error can affect somebody like for life, right? And I remember being in the farmers market, and we have so many people, entrepreneurs, just even selling like cupcakes, and they didn't look professional at all to me. They didn't look professional, and I think a lot of people who deal with food allergy probably stay away from eating like outside like that, and like going to street vendors because they really don't know what's in their food. But imagine kids when everybody's having like a cupcakes and they're like joining in, and it's summertime and they perhaps have a food allergy. You know, I'm sure the parents have to deal with, going out and making sure they don't eat stuff like that, or making sure they speak to the vendor, making sure they know the ingredients. So this is such a sad story. Let me know what you guys think about this. Who do you think is at fault here? Like I said, the cookies were sent to stool owners and they packaged them themselves and labeled them themselves. So is something was miss here. Something was definitely miss here because I can I'm trying to think of an example, but it's just, if it was like they just received the cookies and they make room in the floor for it and they put it in the shelf and they use the manufacturer labels and all of that. Well, of course, it's the manufacturer, the problem at this point, but because stool owners handle them and open them and label them with their own labels and their own packaging. Like they could have maybe it could have been anything. Like I'm trying to think, like an employee probably used the packaging for peanut cookies and they're like, oh no, we already have enough packaged the other ones. And then he used the same packaging, maybe some crumbs were left, and like anything that because of the handling of steel owners, that can lead to so many other errors that can create an issue like they're having right now. That's what I'm getting at. It's so tragic either way, but let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. Have a good day, everybody. God bless.